Hello fellow fashion entrepreneur, and welcome to today's episode of the Fashion Dose with Yetunde Akondi of the Yechosen Fashion Academy. Guess what we're talking about today? Yeah, it's one topic that you all like. So it's about who bears the cost of a damaged outfit. Is it your tailors or the company? You know, we experience this all the time, you know, and you know how I love to explain to you, I love to teach you based on my own experience. So this is not just theory, you can relate with it because I have been in the same business for the past 12 years, and so you know that I've experienced, I've seen a whole lot. So you know, we always have this situation of a damaged fabric, you know, whereby you give your tailor's clothes and then they damage it. Let's create a scenario. For instance, imagine a customer brings in a fabric for you to make for them. You know, if it was ready to wear, it's easy because it's your own fabric. But imagine if it's a customer's fabric, they bring it to you to make clothes for them. You know, you either design it for them or they bring their own design. It's even easier if it is your own design. You know, imagine they bring you their own design and then they explain to you, you have that communication, you know, you were talking and you already know what they want. And you were clear, you already tracked the customer, you took the fabric and all, and then you went to your almighty tailor. And then you explain to them, this is what we have to make, blah, blah, blah. In your mind, you've cleared out all the information and they are nodding their head. You know how they can be now, nodding their head, yes, I get it, you know, I get it, yeah. And then you realize that when they finish making the clothes, they made you something entirely different. It has happened several times, you know, it has happened several times, you know, and then you're looking like, where do I start from? In fact, you feel like the floor should just open up and swallow you. You know, it is that, it can be that serious, you know. And then you start thinking, oh, where do I start from? Where do I get the fabric? You know, how do I go about it? And all that. So in that case, what happens? What went wrong? So there are two things. It could be the communication. It could be a communication gap between yourself and your tailor. Probably you didn't communicate right, or they didn't just get it. You know how it is when you're trying to explain something to someone and they're interpreting it in a different way in their head, but in their mind they feel like, yes, I'm getting it, I understand it. But in the real sense, you are not communicating with yours. I mean, they don't understand what you have in your mind because you're just saying it. You know, it's just like me telling you a story. You're already imagining it in your mind. Somebody else is imagining it. You know, we have different ways of interpreting these things, you know. And secondly, it could be as a result of the tailor's assumptions, and you know, they do that a lot. And why do they do that? Is because they are mostly not learned, you know. So the way you interpret things, you don't expect them to get it the exact same way, you know. And this is why, you know, you might need to have to sketch it out for them. So if you're a fashion designer and you do not know how to sketch, you might want to learn how to sketch, because it helps you. You can easily communicate with these people because they are more visual. It's what they see that they are likely to do. But if you're just explaining to them, and no, you can receive the shock of your life, you know. So if you're a fashion designer or a fashion entrepreneur and you take fabrics from people, you might want to learn how to sketch your designs, or you employ someone that can illustrate for you. Because I can remember when I started out 12 years ago, that was one thing that stood me out, you know. I sketch my designs. So when they come to me, I don't even use all those magazines. I sketch. Even if they pick a style, I will sketch my own and change it and add my own touch to it. So I sketch it, and my customers love that, you know. They love the fact that I design the clothes. It gives them the sense of, oh yes, she knows what she's doing, you know. You can take short courses, even at the Yechosen Fashion Academy. Within a month, you can learn how to sketch, you know, whether you didn't even know how to draw a straight line or a circle before. We can teach you in 1 month, and then you know how to sketch. It goes a very long way. It helps communication easy between you and your tailors, you know. So let's go back to our scenario. And then they did something entirely different, you know, probably because they assumed, or, you know, even maybe you sketched it for them and they ended up making the wrong thing. What do you do? You know, what do you do? So one thing that happens is I make them understand the implication of what has been done. Okay, I make them understand the implication of what has been done. Now look at this style. So now another thing that you know, they say something that where there is no law, there is no sin. Okay, and what you allow grows. I always make my staff, because we have a general term we use here. We have a mission statement that we all go by, which is to work together as a team to provide customers with high quality products and extraordinary finishing, and to help the company win. All my staff, whether you are learned or not learned, they say this mission statement every morning. So we understand why we are doing what we are doing. So some things are not allowed. It has to be perfect finishing. So in a case where they do something wrong, you know, they know the implication. They know that yes, now this is the fabric, you know, and it's already spoiled. Is it that we buy another fabric? At what point did it go wrong, you know? And that's why for every fashion business, don't stop seeing your business as just passion, as something you're just doing. You have to treat it as a business. There has to be processes in place for these things, you know. So in my own organization, what we do is, because we already have our processes, which I'll be sharing with you towards the end of this video, we already have our processes. So where the problem went wrong, we would know. Is it from my communication with you? Probably we sketched it or we wrote it down for you on what you need to do. Did you do what was written, or you did what you wanted to do? You know, so in a case where the tailor made a mistake, I now look at the what's the right word to use? I look at the intentions. Was the intention pure? It was just out of ignorance, or it was just out of, you know, I don't care attitude. If I see that you don't see anything wrong, you're not owning up to where you've made a mistake, trust me, you will have to pay for every damage. And you know why I can easily charge them? That's because when they were entering into my company, we already gave them our policies. They already know that for every damaged cloth, you would bear the implication. You bear the cost implication of every damaged fabric, you know. So they already know that. Okay, so they also try to pay attention. But when I see that, oh, you know, we are all human beings, we make mistakes, when I see that the mistake is actually genuine, it's something that, oh, okay, yes, it's possible that probably communication wasn't clear, you know, I let it go. But they already know, and that is because we already, as they were coming in, we already laid them, put them through our policies. Okay, and they already signed, they already agreed to how we do our things. So I would tell you, in a case where your tailor damages a cloth, if you've not had a prior arrangement and agreement beforehand telling them that if you damage a cloth, you would bear the consequences, believe me, it will be very unfair of you to charge them. Okay, that is number one. You cannot charge them if you did not already tell them, if it's not written, if you don't have a proof to say that, yes, see, this is how we run things here and this is our policy, and you signed. If you charge them, that's why they don't, they leave, you know, when you charge them unnecessarily. You know, you have to be plain. They have to be clear on what is right and what is wrong in your organization, okay? And secondly, might be due to your processes. Now, you cannot charge them if you don't have a clear process. You just told them by mouth. We are human beings. They forget things. You cannot tell them by mouth and explain to a style to them. We forget things easily. So if that is your approach, you just explain to them and they make a mistake, it is your fault. Believe me, it is your fault. It has to be written. It has to be written. Do you understand? It has to be written. So now let me tell you the things you can do to avoid all this, the way it works for us. I'm not saying we are free of errors. Of course, things will happen. But how you react to them, how the controls you put in place, how you solve them now makes the difference. If other companies were perfect, they would not have customer care lines. Banks, they have customer care lines. Chevron, all companies, they have customer care lines. That's because, of course, there will be glitches around services rendered, you know. But how well are you able to resolve it? Do you understand? What are the processes you already have in place to resolve that? But first of all, you need to have a clear understanding with your tailor, with your staff. They need to understand how you run things here. There has to be a process of how you do things. You can't just push blames, okay? And don't forget, I said something. I said what you allow grows. Okay, so you have to curb it from the scratch. If they feel like they can damage your clothes and nothing is going to happen, they would go on. But when they know there is an implication for it, where there is no law, there is no sin. There are rules, there are regulations they have to comply by. So they pay extra attention to all those little details. So let me tell you how we run at the Yetros Lane brand. So what we do is, from the sales point, we write everything out. Every little detail, including customer brought a lining, what color of lining, how many yards was brought. Do you understand? For people that make laces, how many yards was brought, we cut out the sample, we place on. So there's nothing like you're mixing of fabrics. You know, we have the processes. We write it 6 pieces, off shoulder, you know, v-neck. We write it and then we sketch it. If we don't sketch it, if there is a picture, we write where the picture is on so phone. Ask Mrs. Yetunde for the picture. Ask the sales representative for the picture. There are guidelines to help the tailor understand it. Do you understand? So we sketch it, that is visual. We write it so they can read it, you know, for those that can read, and we monitor it. Okay, so you can put all those things in place and don't have a control around it. It will still end up not being followed. So for everything you do, you have to put controls in place. You have to also put in your own work. You don't just entrust it to them, because we are human beings, we make mistakes. We also need checks, you know, around. So that is what you can do. Make sure it is written. Now that is your proof. I have assigned this work to you. This is what you're expected to do. Okay, don't make anything outside what has been given to you. That is your proof. You hand it over to the tailor. Now if they do anything outside what has been given to them, they already know that it is their fault. You understand? Now they try to look at what they can do, you know. But I always like, when one thing I love about staff, you know, that makes me feel like, oh yes, this person is my staff, this person is a good person, is when they make mistakes and they own up to it. No, that thing gets to me. I love it when you own up to your mistakes, and I don't hesitate doing that with my customers. If it is my fault, hands down, please. Please, I know it's my fault, and don't worry, we'll fix it, and we'll fix it fast. But in a situation whereby the tailor is still arguing with you, okay, you will pay. You want to argue, let's take it to court. You will pay for this one. But if I see that, oh, the person is remorseful, oh, I'm so sorry, it's keep my mind, I assumed this, even though I don't like when they assume things, you know, I just pardon them. If I feel like this person needs to, or they've been doing it over time, if the person hasn't done it before, I waive it off. If the person has been doing it over time, I can charge them part of it, and then, you know, pay part of it, you know. So that way we already have an understanding, and because we have a mission statement, we go by it, which is to work together as a team to provide customers with high quality products and extraordinary finishing, and to help the company win. So when they make mistakes, I ask them, so our mission statement, how are we going to win? If we keep doing alterations like this, if we keep messing up with customers' fabrics, we have to go and buy the fabric, then make again. We have spent in the profits, not even the profit on that cloth, we spent more than what the customer already paid for, you know. So they have to understand the implication. You have to teach them the implication. If not, they don't know about this thing. So you have to explain to them. You have to train them to be responsible. You have to train them to how you want your things done, okay? And if you are not sure of how you do your things, then you need to go back and do your own work. Take courses that can help you, you know, groom yourself up, because you can't blame them for what you yourself don't know. Do you understand? So if you don't know this, you have to learn more about this. Okay, so I hope this has really helped you. So how you can, I hope it has really helped you on how you can, you know, manage such scenario when tailors damage your customers' fabrics, you know. So I've already given you steps in which we have also used and has worked for us, okay? So if you have further questions, you can send me an email to yetroslanacademy@yahoo.com, okay? You can also check our YouTube channel for more videos like this at Yetros Lane, okay? And also, you can also check our Fashion Academy page at Yetros Lane Fashion Academy, where we teach different things. We take entrepreneurship courses. We can also teach you from start to finish. It's a complete academy for just fashion designers, okay? Yes, so remember to like, share, and comment your thoughts on this topic, okay? So see you next time. Take care. Bye.